Get her to the NBA three-point contest. Check out Caitlin Clark making 50 for 54 for three in practice. The Indiana Fever star player is getting ready ahead of the new WNBA season. Caitlin Clark has been instrumental in seeing a surge of interest in women's basketball, even before joining WNBA team the Indiana Fever at the start of the 2024 season. The 22-year-old was picked by the Fever in the draft, but had already established herself as a superstar as one of the greatest college players of all time with the Iowa. Clark has seen 2024 Fever games, both home and away sellout as fans clamor to see the star player at close quarters. Clark shows her three-point shooting skills. Ahead of next month's NBA All-Star Weekend, the Fever star was rumored to be one of the big surprise attractions. However, Clark says she will skip the All-Star San Francisco event with her heart set on competing in her first three-point contest at the WNBA's All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis later this summer. A recent video posted by the Fever showed that Clark will be a formidable opponent for any contenders as she sank 50 of her 54 three-point shots in practice. Get your game on. Whether you're into NFL touchdowns, NBA buzzer beaters, world-class soccer goals, or MLB home runs, our app has it all. Dive into live coverage, expert insights, breaking news, exclusive videos, and more. Plus, stay updated on the latest in current affairs and entertainment. Download now for all-access coverage, right at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Caitlin Clark jersey retirement ushering in an evolving era in the women's game. The second day of the second month falling on a women's basketball Sunday feels like kismet. An appropriate date, 2 seconds, for two of the most iconic No. 22s this decade. Caitlin Clark's No. 22 jersey will rise to the rafters of Carver Hockey Arena in Iowa City on Sunday, less than a year after her second national championship game in an Iowa Hokies uniform. In Columbia, South Carolina, a garnet one will go up with A'ja Wilson's No. 22 7 years after her own back-to-back national title appearances. The number of jersey retirements appears to be ramping up in recent years as players tear through record books and schools turn more attention to blossoming women's programs. By the end of the Iowa and South Carolina ceremonies, at least 4 legendary players will have watched their jerseys be raised in the first 33 days of 2025. 2 left school within the year. 2 more already won WNBA championships together. Retired jerseys aren't one size fits all. Schools have different eligibility requirements for jersey retirements. Players have to be ready for the honor. And a lot more people are aware of and passionate about women's basketball than ever before. It hasn't been such a big ordeal, the women's retirement of their jerseys compared to the men's. Dr. Lisa Del Pinerotti, director of the Sport Management Program at George Washington University and an advisory board member of the Women's Sports Foundation, told Yahoo Sports. And it just stems back to, I'm not saying nobody cared, but there were a lot fewer people who cared about women's basketball than there are now. Obviously now, it's going to raise the profile of everything these women do. Clark had barely played her final game when Iowa Athletics director Beth Goetz announced the honor in April during the Hokies team celebration at their arena. It is a privilege for me to now make that official, Goetz said while Clark sat near her, under the jerseys of Michelle Edwards, No. 30, and Megan Gustafson, 10. You will be the last to wear No. 22. In mid-December, the school revealed the date as its first Big Ten game against No. 4 USC, 1:30 p.m. ET. Fox will stay with the broadcast after the game ends for the ceremony. As was the case in her playing days, ticket prices are soaring with combined interest for Clark and Naismith contender Juju Watkins of USC. Strike while the iron is hot is always my marketing tip, Del Pinerotti said. Historically, I could see why they would retire the jersey after the person has kind of proven themselves even more in the pros. But in today's world of trying to get as much media and excitement around your programs, leveraging a star athlete is a great strategy. Clark, who turned 23 last week, is accustomed to the pomp and circumstance, whether it was record-breaking celebrations or senior night. Yet, this is the first time she won't be playing in a game beforehand. It's kind of hard to evoke emotion after you just competed for 40 minutes, Clark said on the Hokies 247 Sports podcast. But now that I'm not actually going to be playing, I feel like I'll probably be a little more emotional, even though I'm not a super emotional person. The South Carolina Athletics Department stipulates a 5-year waiting period for a jersey retirement, beginning at the conclusion of the student athlete's final season. Wilson,